Or good morning, or good evening, or I don't know when you're going to be doing this. Looking at it, reading it, watching it, watching it. You won't be reading this because there'll be very few words. I'm here. I wanted to give some information just for the sake of everybody's, I don't want to say intelligence, but I just like giving out information. The useless stuff that people will inevitably ask me about, I tend to remember. The phrase, dressed to the nines, where did that come from? It started in the early 1800s. If you've seen paintings, and there's no photographs or anything, but you've seen some of the movies depicting that era, when they're properly dressed, particularly came from military in England. Their uniforms had whatever color it was, but it always had 9 brass buttons on there. It had to be polished, and but that was basically it. That was the main feature of their uniform dress, like the full-on hoity-toity #1 best dressed to the nines, meant you were wearing your suit that had the 9 brass buttons on it. I don't know how that continued to become like a universal phrase, but that's that. The phrase "no bones about it." We all know what that means. There's no fear, no doubt. If you want this job, no bones about it, I'm taking it. Okay, that again came from, well, I shouldn't say again, but this one actually came from the Americas when there's the fur trade and stuff out west through the Colorados. Through Colorado. Well, you know what I'm saying. The beaver pelts and whatnot. And oftentimes, these people are out and, they're living off the land. They're fur trappers. If there's no bones about it, they're speaking to somebody. That means their meal that they're having, the fish and the stews and the whatnot, means, dig into it and don't worry. You're not going to find any bones in there. You get those little fish bones and they get stuck in your throat, or just sometimes irritating, sometimes life-threatening, especially in that kind of situation where you don't have medical care. You don't have the ability to seek out professional help. If somebody told you there was, no bones about it, you did not have to worry about the food that you were going to eat. It had been cleansed and cleaned, and it was proper. No bones about it. Baker's dozen. This is, I don't know why a lot of these phrases start in the 1700s and 1800s, but I don't know exactly when this started, but I guess I do to some extent, because it was kind of when the Industrial Revolution was really materializing, and things were being manufactured on an industrial scale. So the places that were stamping, what they do is they had a massive press. It was not hydraulic, steam operated, and they would put a piece of metal in there, and bam, it would stamp out the pan. And the pan had 13 spots in it. There was 4 on the top. There's 3 rows, 4, and then there was 5 that went in the middle that were kind of offset. So rather than having just 4 that were offset, you know what I'm saying? So that you had you had a circle here, and you had a circle here, and then you had a circle. Well, you know what I'm saying. So rather than being 4 and then 4 offset and then 4 again, they just put another one in there, and that way they were getting the most out of the space available. So once they started selling those, that became the Baker's dozen. It was strictly because of the pan had 13 holes in it for industrial reasons. Skeleton in the closet comes about during the medical renaissance, when doctors were, they used to have just filthy coats that, the buildup of blood and muck on your doctor's jacket signified great work. Well, it actually signified like disease. Not signified, it brought disease and stuff like that. So when the doctors started learning about this stuff, they were doing more and more studies on actual bodies. And a skeleton in the closet essentially referred to a doctor who had got a cadaver in some way that wasn't necessarily, a donation from the person or their family, and they would hide it. It was one of those things that they were always in fear of it being noticed. It was right there, not noticed, but of the truth being found out. It was right in the closet. Like anybody could, who really looked, could find the answer to where these things were coming from. So that's it. Skeleton in the closet. They also used to store. They still do this when they have those fake skeletons at school. They store them in the closet. I'm sure that plays a certain amount of role in its proliferation. The rule of thumb. This is another one. It was essentially a unit of measure. You'd hold your thumb up. I think this one actually came from France. And what you would do is you'd hold your thumb up a certain distance, well, arm's length away from you. You'd step back 10 paces from the woman that you were courting or whatnot. And don't get offended at me, because this is what it was. You'd hold your thumb up, and if at 10 paces, if the woman was not hidden by your thumb, you didn't marry her because she was her girth factor was too large. If you held your thumb up and the woman was hidden behind it, she was great. I mean, you can put your thumb up to the moon and hide the moon. You know what I'm saying? So at a certain distance, apparently that is what indicated whether a wife was good to have at that particular time. What I don't understand is if you're a big old fat guy and you got a sausage thumb, so you get a better chance of a hefty woman. Or what if you're, a dwarf? What do you get? Because anyway, so that about does it. I don't really have anything else at the moment. I will do further research. If you guys have any questions, email them to me. Well, message them to me through the thing. And there you go. Everybody be blessed. Rate it, comment, subscribe.